Hi guys, it's Slim here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back again with another freaking video. So for this video, y'all, I haven't done one in so long. I wanted to do a little story time. Something short, but like informative. I wanted to tell you guys a story time of the worst experience I had working at Crumble. I know that's like a popular dessert thing, but I just want to share that with y'all, hopefully to bring some awareness. Also, I think because, you know how like TikTok, that little trend where it's like people are sitting down in Netflix documentary, that's me, okay? But the only thing I'm not going to do is I don't think I'm going to go in like full detail because there is a lot of things that led up. I mean, there's like little micro things, but I kind of just want to get to the main part and hopefully to bring awareness to people, especially when you out here working for people. I know entrepreneurship is not for everybody. I know working for people is not for everybody. But before we get into this mess, y'all, I got sent this matcha to try. Really excited because I've always been wanting to get into matcha. I just hear shaky things. Also because I watch a lot of dessert competitions and I hear little things when people add matcha into desserts. So it made me a little weary, but I'm really excited because FKRO sent me their kind of like beginner style matcha powder, and I think it'll be perfect for these smoothies that I've been drinking. So this is called the Pinnacle Ceremonial Matcha, and it's Ujitawa Reserve. And like I said, instead of doing like a little matcha latte, I kind of want to go with more of my aesthetic. Let's try a smoothie. I'm not gonna make a big smoothie just in case I don't like it. Got a little bit of honey. I got me some milk. And shout out to my brother for re-upping my frozen strawberries. I love you, brother. I believe this is all the ingredients I'm gonna be using. Do I want to use measurements? Let's do that. How much do you guys think that is? This is actually probably too much. And then I'm gonna be taking our nice pretty matcha. Now on the back of here, it does have some instructions that you can go off of, but I know this is off of like 3 ounces of water and stuff like that. But it does say stir half a teaspoon of matcha in. I'm going to do 1/4 just because I'm using like a small cup. Fun thing about partnering with this company is they were really, really great at helping me decide which matcha brand would be good for me, especially as a beginner. So make sure you guys definitely check them out. This is what the matcha looks like in the inside. I'm only gonna be taking a few. Then I'm gonna be taking our honey and we are just going to dab or just do like a little swizzle. I'm gonna pop it on in our blender. Now that I have the matcha all ready. Ooh. Y'all, this is really good. I taste like a hint of matcha in there, but it's not overpowering. It's very smooth. Yeah, this is gonna be my new go-to. This is the Pinnacle Ceremonial Matcha. I absolutely love this matcha. So if you guys want to try this, please check out the link in my description box and let me know what flavor you get and how did it taste for you, okay? Now, speaking of food, let me tell y'all when I worked for Crumble. Got my drink. I'm outside because it's a beautiful, beautiful day. And why not talk about them in a beautiful day like this? If you guys hear noise, it's just the chickens, but they seem pretty chill right now. So y'all, this is before I launched PEEKAH. If you guys don't know, I launched a clothing store last year called It's called PEEKAH, but shoppeekah.com. Now this was 2024, the winter fall time of 2024 is kind of when I started really taking action on wanting to start my business and being very intentional about doing things surrounding launching my business, right? Before I do what I do now, I used to serve for like, I think a year, 2 years, and I was just coming up from being done with serving. Like I was done. Like once the summertime, towards the end of the summer, I was like, I'm so done with this. I don't want to keep doing this. I realized that like, hey, you've been having this business idea since 2022 and you've done nothing with it. Jump on it. So at this time, I quit working. I had saved up enough as a server to be able to not really have to work as long as I budgeted correctly and just did what I did. So I had enough saved up that I didn't have to work and also launch my business. So between like August to like October, I wasn't working. I was doing content. So what prompted me to go ahead and apply for Crumble was I was scared that me not working and relying like on my savings and stuff like that was not a smart idea. Plus I had a lot more time on my hands, so I was like, well, Deja, you don't have to be a server. You can go find something where it's not a lot of hours or not a lot of work, and you're only there from this time to this time, like you're in and out. Went ahead, applied, went to the interview. There was 2 people that interviewed me. It was the shift lead. I can actually say her name because she's my friend. Shout out to you, Heavenly. Another coworker, we're gonna call her Katie. Okay, we're gonna just call her Katie. From first impression, they were very nice girls. I could see like our energies were kind of bouncing off each other. Like it's to the point where when you go to an interview and people are hugging you, you know you aced that interview. And to the point, I think the general manager at the time was watching the interview from the cameras in the back, and I think she actually called in and was like, we love her, hire her right now. People that interview me are around my age. I think I was the oldest one working at Crumble outside of the general manager. Everyone else, I think Katie was like still in high school, and then Heavenly, me and her are like 2 years apart or a year and a half apart, something like that. First red flag I got was at the interview. I found out that the general manager was Katie's mom. We're gonna call the general manager, we're gonna call her Kathy, okay? We're gonna call her Kathy. Katie, Kathy, okay, y'all? Stick with it, stay with it. Kathy not only employed one daughter, Katie, she employed a second daughter, Katie, and I think she had a third daughter employed, not at that time I started, but at one point. And then Catherine also employed Katie's boyfriend. I think they had a family member there at the time, and the other daughter employed her girlfriend. Like, it was just like a family affair. Like, I don't know. Like, and mind you, this is obviously, it's not a family-owned business. They don't own Crumble at all. They have a boss and work for people just as much. But I think she was a general manager at the store I was at, and then the other store that was like 15 minutes away, which was where her daughter worked at that one consistently, and then the other daughter worked at the one that I was at consistently just at night or something. That was my first red flag, because if it's not a family-owned business, I think it's very red flaggy when a manager, general manager are able to hire that many close connections like that. That is a setup in itself. The only reason why I don't think I heed the warning as hard as I should have was because of Heavenly. Her energy honestly was like, if she's working here, it can't be really that bad. And I also had it in my mind as well that I'm just here to launch my business. You know, I'm using this funds to go directly to my business solely, so I don't have to touch any of my savings for it. Like, that's basically what it was giving. So I was like, girl, just go in, come out. Go in, come out. You ain't doing nothing but baking cookies. You ain't doing nothing but mixing. So I did get hired as a mixer. And if you guys don't know the Crumble like dynamic, you have your bakers, your mixers, and your shift leads. Now, depending on the Crumbles all around the world, they might have like other roles that aren't really recognized, because like recognized as an actual position you can apply for. It's more of like a promotion, because I think the one I worked at, they did something where like they had some type of leadership thing where you weren't a shift lead, but like you kind of helped assist the shift lead or something, like, because it was like mixer, shift leads, and then whatever you were. But it wasn't, other Crumbles didn't do that. It was just something they came up with to help the high schoolers as far as like leadership and taking on more roles, just to congratulate them and give them a little bit of raise without completely changing their role or their title or something like that. So again, I'm repeating, I got hired as a mixer. And I could tell you little incidences that happened. There was definitely a girl there that picked with me so bad because I didn't want to be her friend. And it wasn't necessarily, we're going to call this girl Sabrina. It wasn't necessarily that I didn't want to be Sabrina's friend. I think Katie and Kathy were very messy about things, and I wanted to protect myself. I learned things pretty quick as a mixer. As a mixer also, you have to kind of learn everything else. So I started with learning everything else, and then I think maybe like the first 2 months I only mixed like twice, but that's because my shift lead was Heavenly. We work in the morning. She likes to mix. She's a shift lead. She tells us what to do on the shift. So if she wants to mix, she mixes, I do something else. You know what I'm saying? But it's still like, but if there was a lot of stuff to make, maybe she'll mix dough and I'm mixing frostings and whipped cream, or I'm running the ovens or something like that. Make sure the cookies are getting thrown in, pulled out, cooled, and put in the warmers and stuff like that. A little bit after I hired, this girl Sabrina was hired. She seemed like a cool girl. Like, I'm not gonna insult her or say anything. It was just, I'm not gonna say like it was anything necessarily. I think whatever issue she was projecting was something she has to work on, especially where I am now in life and a lot of growth that I had, that I have to realize that a lot of people's behaviors has nothing to do with you. A lot of it is just something within them that they have not healed, so they're projecting it out on you. Also, I do notice in a lot of workplaces, because I do come in and do my job and lock in, and because I am where I am, I'm adored a little bit, and not to puff my head up or not, but I realize when you're liked in a lot of environments, especially work environments where they know you're an asset, and I pretty much caught up to everything within like the first 60 days, to the point where I was telling people what to do and not in a way to where I was bossing, but it was more so like, hey, I know it's done this way, not that way. Not bossy like I'm trying to be a shift lead. It was never giving that. I think it was her, and I think there was another girl that kind of was a little bit intimidated by how, you know, the other girl, she's been working there a while, so I can see how I come in and I'm given all these responsibilities, and you can kind of be side-eyed like, this girl just got here. So I think it was just an intimidation thing, something along that. We're not gonna dwell on it. But when Sabrina came in, they had me train her, basically train her how I do everything, because I do everything just motherfucking right, okay? I get shit done. Pretty much anybody that came through that door, I was in charge of training. Right hand to God, okay? I think there was one incident. You guys don't know, tres leches cakes is like a little, is it a Latin dessert? And with tres leche, I'll insert a picture right here so you guys can kind of get a visual. Tres leches has a whipped cream that just goes like in a zigzag, I think. And when you pack the whipped cream bag and you're gonna cut the tip part, you don't want to cut it obviously too wide, but if you cut it too short to where there's a tiny hole and you try to squeeze the whipped cream out, it shoots out like silly string. We crack jokes about it all the time, you know. So there was one particular morning, the girl Sabrina, she had the same shift as me, 6 a.m. to 2. I didn't always stay till 2. It's just whenever I was done mixing, I can go, or whenever there was nothing for me to do, I was always the first one going home, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't always like that, they just chose me. There's been plenty of times, which I'll get to, where that I tried to opt out of that. Sabrina was doing it, and I don't think she cut the whipped cream bag out, because you could tell the difference between the cakes that were in from the night before, the cakes that I just did, and then hers. The frosting looked weird. It's completely fine. It's literally just frosting. But I cracked a joke, and I was like, girl, your silly string looks, I was like, girl, your whipped cream looks like silly string, or something like that. I was like, you must have not cut the tip all the way wide, or whatever. And I think she said something like, oh no, I cut it wide, da-da-da. And that was that. Went about my day, right? Next day, I come into work. Sorry, y'all. My camera overheated. I had to move it in the shade. Katie runs up to me and she's like, Sabrina made a complaint. Sabrina made a complaint. Now, you guys know in the workforce, when I think of complaint, I think I just got written up. I've never been complained on. I've never gotten a write-up ever in life. Never even had to get pulled aside and have a conversation about things, because what are we doing that for? I don't know. I'm a little bit too grown for stuff like that, and I'm really simple when it comes to work. Go in, do your job, leave. Maybe it's because I have other goals outside of work that it's so easy for me to just... So when I hear that, I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? And I'm so confused. So then I go to my shift lead, Heavenly, and I'm like, Heavenly, did I do anything yesterday? Like, was there an issue? She didn't even know about a complaint or anything. Nothing was brought to her attention. So I find out through Katie being messy. I guess after I left, I don't know if she was still there when night shift was coming in. Matcha, gone. What Katie told me is that when she came in for work yesterday evening, Sabrina came up to her saying I was like mean and said her whipped cream looked like silly string and all this hoochie wally stuff. So I was like beyond shocked, because guys, that was at 6 in the morning. We worked a whole shift together. And then I just feel like I'm maybe it's my maturity, but I just feel like if I offended you or something was off about it, just come talk to me, or go to the shift lead that's on the shift. It kind of felt like she wanted to talk crap about me, you know what I mean? To the night shift people. And if y'all know more than night shift people, we don't play none of that. Okay? You're trying to talk about me to the night crew, and the night shift lead likes me, so she came and told me. So when I hear that, I'm asking her, I'm like, well, what is your mom gonna do? Like, am I in trouble? Like, am I getting rid of? Do I gotta sign something? Like, what's going on? And she basically said, like, her mom doesn't care. Like, she's not silly string. But it was weird. So that was my first thing. And my thing is, I'm all about correction. That offended you? Okay, let me not play with you like that. Matter of fact, I don't even know necessarily what I did, but what I'm going to do is just keep you on a need to know basis, keep you on a have to basis. When I say need to know, have to, meaning I have to say something to you, I have to work with you, I need to tell you this, I need to, you know? That's how I did it. And not in a way where it's like malicious and you can tell the energy. It's just more so, when she comes in the morning, I say good morning. That's pretty much it. If people are engaging in conversation with her, I just don't engage. If I'm engaging with someone else, please don't engage. It got to that point. I kind of just was like, okay, we're all that friendly kiki that I was trying to do with you. We ain't gonna do that because I don't need nobody trying to act like I'm being mean to them. Especially because I'm one of the nicest, sweetest people you'll probably ever meet. Another complaint came up where at that point now it's a problem because Deja's not talking to me. Deja's not talking to me. And to the point where she's telling everyone, I'm talking night crew, I'm talking morning crew, to the point where I can't be working without somebody coming up and be like, I said her name. I'll make sure I bleep it out. But but they're like, Sabrina said that you can't talk, that you're not talking to her. Why are you not talking to her? Mind you, people know I'm not talking to her. And it's not nothing I'm trying to highlight. I'm trying to sweep it on the rug, but she keeps like trying to make it a thing, and it's just like, it's literally not that deep. So it got to the point where I was cordial with her and then kind of laughed with her, but not for real. And then it became a problem because I'm laughing with everyone else like this, but when it comes to her, I'm like this. And I'm just like, and then it became a thing when she found out we had a group chat. We did have a group chat, but it wasn't like a messy group chat. It was literally a group chat because we used to hang out outside of work. It was nothing like, oh, we're talking crap about people in there. That's just how we connected. They were a little bit deeper than what I'm explaining because it kept being a thing. It was just like every time I came to work, to the point where I was starting to feel like I kind of have to walk on eggshells. Y'all, I am so sorry. There's been a few field mices in all summer that I've seen that the chickens have killed, and so I'm just scared that I'm gonna see like a mouse in my vicinity, but it's literally just birds flying and walking across the yard and stuff like that. So I need to just focus on here. It was just things adding, and I just felt like as a general manager, and mind you, all these reports were coming back from Katie and Kathy. Kathy was fully aware of what was going on, but instead of like nipping stuff in the bud and telling her like, hey, this is not the best friends club, we're just here to work, it's okay, like as long as she's not doing anything malicious to you, leave her alone. Stop coming up with stuff. It didn't matter what I did. I could come in and not say something the whole day and this girl will still have a problem with me. And even to the point where it would be like, if I'm talking to Heavenly, literally direct, me and Heavenly are having a conversation, she would be ha 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 all the way over there, y'all. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Heavenly would look at me because she would know, like, somebody that's poking the bear and trying to antagonize you so you can react, so they can say, oh no, she's always been like this. Look, this is what I'm telling you. Look. Like, I wasn't giving her any type of ammo to try to say I'm this way. It was literally her own delusion. She'll do something to me and then they'll look at me and I'm like, but I'm not gonna react because I know the minute I say something or the minute I do anything, and not say react as in I'll go off on her, but I just felt like I could not say anything because it was just like everything. If I looked a certain way, it was a problem. Yo, I wish I had a camera on me at that time because, oh my God, like, I've never had a person like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I've had some bad friendships, and some jealous friendships. I've had some jealous females, plenty of jealous females around, but I've never had that. That was a new level that I did not know how to operate around, and it was just like, I'm looking at cameras, like, you know, you know when you're watching a show and something crazy happens and they look at the camera? That's how it was working in there with her. It was just like, y'all see this shit? I pulled Lacey and her one time. This is like right before I stopped working there, in the car, and we just had like a group, like a big old discussion about everything. Lacey joined in only because Lacey had a little bit of backstory based on what be going on up in this Crumble, that even she felt like her name was slandered and she was called like a dumb bond by Kathy and Katie. I let her come in the car and kind of express that. I just think Katie and Kathy kept up a lot of mess of something that could have easily either been sat down and talked out, and things were exaggerated bigger than, like, her statements that were said to me were exaggerated from what she says. Okay, all this is just what people are telling me. She said it, and there was some conversation, specifically the silly string conversation. I brought that up because that was the initial. I wanted her to know that's when things changed for me and why I kind of kept to myself when it came to her after that. And she did tell me that basically that conversation didn't go like that at all. She was not trying to make no complaint about me. She just mentioned something, and whatever it was mentioned, it was taken and it got ran. Shout out to you, Sabrina. We all good, and I hope you love your new job, because she got up out of there. A lot of people got up out of there the same time I got up out of there because of all the crap that was going on. That's very smart of you guys, because y'all seen what I went through, and it was a matter of time before you guys were next, okay? We can fast forward this to May. Those months that I was working there, a lot of people did know I did content stuff on the side. And because they're young, they were really intrigued on what I was doing because who knows a business owner? I mean, somebody that's starting up a business. Highly don't recommend doing that. That's something I have, as of 2026, really nailed down. It's because I'm such a friendly, bubbly personality, and I'm all about sharing information. I don't mind sharing what I have going on, but I realized over the last few years that doing that, really, people will become admired and then they'll become envious. People become admired and then they'll become jealous. People become admired and then they try to sabotage you. There was a little hint in here that a lot of people knew, kind of, that this job wasn't something I absolutely, like, I needed or I had to show up for. Like, I could quit and be okay. It was just something I was trying to do to support another venture that I was on. In the state that I was in, you need to do like a mission test. I've only been in that state for like about 2 years now. So after my second year, I was told that I needed to do a mission test on my car. But then when I put up to the mission test line, she told me that they were going to fail me regardless because my engine light was on. Even though there was nothing wrong with my actual car or like the engine, I wanted to figure out what was wrong with it myself. So I was like going to AutoZone, doing tests, doing Google, doing all that stuff. And I was telling them at work, and I was like, I think it's my O2 sensor. That's what it's called. I thought it was my O2 sensor that was wrong, that was like messed up and making the engine light come on and stuff like that. But I was like, dang, I gotta go to AutoZone though and buy a wrench because I was like, I need a wrench to take the O2 sensor out. When I was saying that, Katie offered her boyfriend to help. He's like, he could take the O2 sensor out and put it in for you. Mind you, if you guys look up, if you guys know a little bit about cars or what an O2 sensor is, it's a very easy piece that you can put in and take out. It just takes a tool to kind of twist it out. But it's nothing that you cannot not take out. You know what I mean? There's nothing that I can't take out myself. I just didn't have the tool to take it out. And when I was saying I was going to go buy it, she offered her boyfriend. I was like, let a man be a man. You know what I mean? Let a young man be a young man. Let him do it, right? Through our work app where like our schedules and stuff is at, and like we could post on there if like we need to make announcements and stuff. She actually texted me through there and sent me his number. Okay, y'all, I don't know how the background looks, but I had to move you over here because the sun then moved and it's trying to shine directly on the camera. And I ended up texting him and I was just like, hey, so, Katie gave me your number. I was just trying to, she said that you could change it. I was like, if you don't want to change it, that's completely fine. He was like, no, Deja, I got you. Whatever you want to meet at. And I was like, oh no, we could definitely meet at the job just because I know how girls is, and the way Katie acted about him, from what I heard from the other high schoolers that work at night, girl, you can't even laugh with him without her giving you the devil eyes or something like that. I didn't want no problem. When you come drop her off, we could go ahead and do this in the parking lot, in the work parking lot, call it a day. Fast forward, he ended up texting me, and I think he said that he was gonna pull up there. I guess that day he was doing his prom suit fitting with his parents, and so I met him at our job in the parking lot. He was doing his thing. I was talking, sitting in the car, talking to his parents. His parents are great, yada, yada, yada. He fixed my thing, reset my thing, told me to sit there for a few minutes, and then he said, after a few minutes, go ahead and start the car off, and then you should be able to drive it, and then basically let him know whether the light comes back on or not. In the midst of him changing my O2 sensor, he actually broke the one that was originally in my car. I don't know how he did it. I think he just yanked it out or something like that. If I knew, guys, if he was going to take it out like that, I would have never. But I really wasn't tripping about it because I really genuinely at that time, I thought that was the problem and why my engine light was on. And so I thought the problem was going to be fixed. When I'm sitting in the parking lot, Katie pulls in a few minutes later. She gets out, she comes up to my car, and she's like, oh, did you just see so-and-so? Yeah, I was like, yeah, he just fixed it. You just missed it. His parents and everything, I sat in the car, you know, sat talking to them. They're great, da-da-da-da. She has the attitude, but it's not at me. I guess she was mad at him. I guess they were into it. You know, I just kind of went over that because I don't really know what I'm supposed to say about things like that. I knew this from probably like the third month of me working at Crumble, that Katie's boyfriend's parents did not like Katie at all. They didn't like her. It's to the point where I heard his mom tell him to tell her to take off the sweater, his sweater. I ain't gonna lie, I've dealt with some crazy mamas, but I have never had a mom tell their son to tell me to take off his stuff because she paid for it. Baby, you need to go ahead and dump that man. They don't like you. So fast forward to the day after, I came into work. Kathy was there opening. And so, you know, I said good morning. I'm chopping up her. I also told her that, hey, so Katie's boyfriend came and changed out my thing. I said, but my engine light came back on. You know, I'm not mad or anything. I'm just like, dang, I'm back to the square one. And she tells me that I guess they were into it really bad because Katie asked him if he can bring her a Jimmy John's sandwich for lunch. And his mom said, no, we're not bringing her anything. She can go get her own Jimmy John's sandwich and eat it herself. And then I also found out that I think she had an issue with the fact that his parents liked me or something like that. So maybe like 3-4 days after Kathy told me that about the Jimmy John sandwich, me and Heavenly were actually out. We were gonna eat dinner together, so we were at Myers grocery shopping for whatever, and I just get this random message from the work at from Katie talking about some I owe her. But mind you guys, I still have the messages because I was ready to sue the pants off these mothers. But she did message me on the work app talking about, oh, I owe her boyfriend like money and I need to pay him for whatever he did or something like that. So at that instant when I'm reading it, I'm like threw off to the point where me and Heavenly are literally in the aisle and she's like, girl, what's on your phone? What's wrong? And I said, this heifer here. Heavenly like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what the fuck? Don't piss me off. So at this point, I stopped everything and now I'm finna chew her up. Because she came at me crazy. And you gotta understand, communication. People will communicate, I wouldn't say gentle. It was a passive aggressive way. So she didn't come at me like, Deja, you need to da 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 da. It was just like, hey Deja, since da 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 and he fixed this and you need to pay him this and da 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 da. Like it gave like she my mama. Baby, I'm 4 years old. And you're fucking 18. You ain't telling me shit about nothing. And then on top of that, I don't even have your number. He has my number. So why isn't he just texting me and just saying that if I don't mind giving an 18-year-old 20-30 bucks for something, but he broke my stuff, we're not even gonna get on that. I messaged her back and I basically said like, he never told me anything about paying him. We had conversations for days and he's never said anything about paying him. Why are you texting me and not him? And then I sent her pictures of my broken O2 sensor and I was like, I said my engine light is on and my O2 sensor that was originally in my car is broken, so I have to keep this one. So who's paying who? She tried to tell me that that's how you take out an O2 sensor. Shut up, you dumb girl. That's not how you take out anything. We ain't even gonna rehash the whole conversation, but just know I was talking to a bimbo who thought she knew more than me. I don't know, for the most part. So as we're going back and forth, mind you, it's very professional, but it's very like stern, especially if you come stern at me like da 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 da. I'm going to come back and I'm not going to back down. And it got to the point where I had to tell her, stop texting me on the work app. This is unprofessional. That's how much she kept going. Then when she didn't, I texted her boyfriend and I said, hey Dave, so-and-so is texting me saying I owe you money for switching out my O2 sensor. I was like, I know you know that like it didn't fix. I said, do you want money for that? I was like, I don't mind. He responds back and says, no, Deja, I never wanted any money. She keeps asking me to ask you for money and to make you pay me for something. And I was like, well, can you please tell her to stop texting me? And he was like, okay, Deja, I got you. I screenshot it, sent to his girlfriend. The girl stopped responding after that. So that was that. Now, at this time, I told y'all this is May. At this time, Kathy, her mom, is on vacation. Maybe a day or two after that, I think she ended up FaceTiming Heavenly while we were all at work. And she ended up like saying hey to the crew, showing us like the beach, the sun. Her husband said hey. I was having conversations with her and everything, laughing, kiki-kiki. It was all laughs and fun with Kathy up until that point. So I guess we will fast forward because by the time Kathy came back, I was on vacation or I had time off because it was my birthday and I was out doing stuff, okay? When I came back, I think is when I noticed the energy shift, not from everyone, but directly from her and her kids. I think it was one time when I came in for work, you know, I said good morning to everyone and I don't think she said good morning back. And then it was like the whole shift, like she was not talking to me. But I don't think I was noticing that like it was a me thing. I just think that was just something I noticed. If I know I didn't do nothing to you and you acting weird, then you just gonna be left acting weird, you know? I think I knew she had a problem because we're gonna call this other coworker Ayana. I met Ayana in December, then she went back to school, and then she came back in June. And the day that she came back, I didn't work with her. She worked at night, but we opened together in the morning. So that next morning when I came in, I seen Ayana for the first time. I was really excited, gave her a hug. We were all shopping. I asked her how school was, all this fun, good stuff. Then she comes and tells me next steps, and she's like, girl, I had something to tell you. And she's like, I'm a little nervous to tell you. So I was like, girl, what do you have to tell me? That's so like shaky. And then she tells me when she came into work, Kathy was closing for night shift and she had so much to say about me. So I'm like, what did she say? I wouldn't say she went in on me, but she basically was like talking crap about me, saying I'm a terrible worker. Nobody likes me. I don't do my job. Mind you, this is our general manager. If somebody doesn't do their job and there's such a problem, you would address it. And I'm pretty sure she said some other stuff, but I was like, my mouth was so like on the ground because I just worked the morning shift with her yesterday morning. It's not my fault you had to do a 12 to 12 shift. You're the general manager. That's what you sign up for. So I'm threw off because I'm like, mind you, when she worked in the morning, it wasn't like she was like directly working, like doing doughs and stuff. I don't know exactly what she was doing, but I know she was like walking around, but she wasn't actually like doing like work as far as mixing frostings and doing doughs and handing out orders. It was nothing like that. It was more of like behind the scenes stuff where you knew she was there, but she just wasn't out. So I was really shocked because I was like, we didn't work together at all yesterday. You were here all day yesterday and you didn't say not one time or to me or to the shift lead that you had a problem with anything that I was doing. You didn't have a problem with me leaving, how I closed, how I opened. Like, I was like literally threw off. So when Ayana was telling me that, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna call Heavenly. So I instantly pull out the phone, FaceTime Heavenly. Mind you, y'all, this is like 6 in the morning, right? Heavenly answers and she's like, Deja, what's wrong? I said, tell Heavenly what you just said. So Ayana tells her everything. Ayana's jaw's to the ground too. So I'm like, Heavenly, did she have any issues with me? My shift is probably like the first shift to go because I'm a mixer, right? So I asked her, I said, did she have a problem with me when after I left? Like, did she say something that I was doing? And no, me and Heavenly at the time, like, we're closer now, but obviously we're still co-workers then. So I just thought maybe it was something that she needed to keep, you know, to her shift lead self because of her position in the job. She was like, Deja, Kathy did not say a word to me yesterday about anything that had to pertain to you or anything that was wrong or anything that was wrong with anybody on the shift. So I was really threw off of why she was so eager to run her mouth to somebody that just came back from being down south, and you had so much to say about me to somebody that ain't been here all year. I mean, the apple don't fall too far from the tree, so it makes sense to why her kids act the way they act too. So y'all know me. You ain't gotta tell me twice to stay the hell away from you. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, you got a problem with me. Let me shift gears and let me go ahead and stay over here and stay in my cubicle because I'm one of those people, we don't have to talk unless we have to. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to talk. We don't have to work together unless we have to, like literally. So that was basically it. So then we came in, like there was times in the morning when I would come in, mind you, this is still June. Like she'll be there like first thing when I walk in and I won't say anything to her. I'll come in, hang my stuff up in my locker and go out and work on the floor. She wouldn't say anything to me, speak when spoken to. That's what I was raised to do. I think it was causing so much commotion because she made it so obvious that she was not talking to me. And so people were coming up like why isn't so-and-so, well, why isn't Kathy talking to you? Why isn't Kathy talking to you? And I'm like, I don't know, I don't care. And also it could have been a little bit of baiting to where people were trying to get me to say something that they can run back and say, but I wouldn't necessarily say that with some of the girls I was working with, but it could have got back to their kids and then so I was just keeping it like, I don't know, I don't care. We work together, not besties, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just as grown, and I don't know if me being that way also comes off intimidating because I think a lot of people expect you to want to know why and cry and beg and make it this big drama thing that I wasn't feeding into because I don't care, and at the end of the day I get to leave here and do my entrepreneur shit that I want to do anyway. So like, and then it's like, babe, you're a worker. I mean, I'm a worker, but you're a worker. Like, this is what you do for real. Like, this ain't what I do for real. This is what I do for now. That'd be my whole energy about stuff. Like, babe, I know why you mad. And I think also with me coming up with launching my business so soon, because it's coming up as the end of June, me launching July 5th, people were like getting really excited for me at work. So I don't know if that was causing a lot of jealousy in itself too. I mean, so they were just kind of try to add on, diminish my character or to paint me to be something I'm not, thinking that was gonna like dim my light, I guess. And there was plenty of incidents, but the last one that stood out to me the most was a little bit after that. I mean, obviously a few days later, Ayana said that she was working night again but instead of working it with Katie, she was working it with their other sister that worked at the other location. I guess she was coming over here to help night crew because they were a little short-staffed. Katie's older sister was running her mouth to Ayana saying that I was a terrible worker and all this other stuff, and I've never worked with her. Like, I found that so flabbergasting. Like, you guys are so miserable. Like, the whole family was just miserable trying to spread lies about me across the workplace. Like, I was like, girl, I don't even work. And Ayana was like, girl, I was fake throughout because she was like, they just never even work with you. But that very one time the first week there, okay? And what was I doing for real outside of basically still being trained just at a different restaurant? They just needed another body because somebody called out. It's just a family affair. And then I think the Saturdays that Katie was there, she actually stopped getting on my shift. I mean, after we had that exchange over the work app and I kind of had to put her in her place, we literally were not working together. I think there was maybe one Saturday we worked together, and I did my own thing on one side and she just stayed away from me on her phone in the corner as she usually does. Father's Day came up. I think I either left for Father's Day or a little bit after Father's Day. I came out here. But around that time, my parents were already trying to get me to move out of that state and come back here, especially with me launching a business. They were like, girl, you don't got to work. You don't got to pay no bills. Just bring your butt here and do all you want to do. But me being my independent self, queen, and just enjoying staying by myself, it took me a second to really realize that was like the best move for me at that time. When I came back from my Father's Day trip, when the schedule dropped later on that week, I was not on it. You know me, I didn't say anything. I was just like, I don't care. Like, you know me, I don't care. I'm not on the schedule. But I think Heavenly did call me and she was like, girl, you're not on that schedule. And I was like, yeah, I seen. I was like, did she say why? And Heavenly was like, nah, I don't know why. She's like, well, I'll work this week and I'll ask and like hear out or whatever. You know, have some listening ears open to see if there's an actual reason, because usually when you take somebody off a schedule, you either tell them after you do it, before them do it, what led up to it. I didn't get anything. I didn't get a text message, a call, a shift lead that couldn't tell me a reason. Nothing. I was just not on the schedule, right? Like her family that she had hired there were keeping it on hush a while, but the other shift leads were confused that nobody was saying why I was off the schedule, right? I was already on some other stuff, like my website got built, like I was doing a whole bunch of other stuff that I couldn't even really dwell on what this was going on. But my friends were like, girl, I would go ahead and file for unemployment since they don't want to fire you, you know, directly or have a reason. Just go ahead and file that unemployment and see what happens, right? So I filed the unemployment, and unemployment got back to me, and they said that Crumble did not fire me. They just took me off the schedule, but now I'm fired for filing unemployment. Then she said that they said that I was off the schedule because I wasn't watching my Crumble videos every week. Y'all, I didn't watch the week that I was out of town because I was out of town. And there's plenty of people that don't watch those videos every week, and there is no consequences that come to that. So that was very weird. And then that would be when you think that would be something simply you'd say, like, yeah, I didn't put Deja on the schedule this week because she didn't watch her videos. Something as simple as that, right? So now I'm going through this unemployment case or whatever the case may be, and the unemployment officer asks me to collect my pay stubs from like the whole time that I worked there and basically send them through. As I'm looking through them, I'm looking at my pay rate as like they're different. Like every 2 pay stubs, the pay is different. And Crumble had like their base pay, and then I think the owners would add like $2 on or something like that for tips. So if my base pay was $12, I was getting paid 14 whatever or something like that. But for some reason my pay stubs were like $10, $11 an hour, back to $10, $12 an hour. And I guess what I would say is, working with like big businesses or corporations, you don't have it in your head that they're not doing their due diligence, right? And that's like the young me, where I had to make sure, especially with me going into business and being as educated as I am now, dot your I's, cross your T, make them write it out, make them print it out, make them send it to you, email it, paper it, mail it, anything. Have it in writing. I've never had this happen. So I just trusted that my pay rate was going to be my pay rate. I did not know it was being messed with, effed with. I didn't look at my pay stubs. This was just to fund my business, so it wasn't something that I was like, let me check the pay stub and make sure my hours and my money there. This check was literally going straight to PEEKAH. I think that's where I kind of missed the mark at. I think you pay a lot more attention when the paycheck is to pay your bills and keep the roof over your head. I started talking to Heavenly. So Heavenly's telling me what my pay rate is supposed to be and what it's supposed to look like. And I told you guys we have this Crumble group chat. I went ahead and I sent all my pay stubs into that Crumble group chat. We got people that's been there for years that has got promotions too, so they know what the pay rate is supposed to look like. They like, oh nah, Deja, something not right. They done gotcha. They done gotcha. So I'm like, oh nah, they must think I'm a motherfucking motherfucker fool. Do I get it across my forehead? Let me know. I reached out to unemployment people. Unemployment people tell me like, girl, you gotta go ahead and fill this out, find this out, and we'll get back to you, right? So I go fill out the paperwork I need to fill out to claim wage fraud. I filled all that shit out. Government, do the work for me, okay? At the end of August, my parents actually came out to my state, packed my whole apartment out, drove the U-Haul all the way back. I stayed at my apartment, I think for like a week, another like 4 days or something like that. And then I packed whatever was remaining up in my car, dropped my keys off, and then I came back out here, right? September, beginning of September, come out here doing my lovely stuff. My dad wants me to take a rest because he just feels like I overwork myself all the time. And so I honestly was just chilling. You know what I'm saying? I was chilling. I was just enjoying the fact that I didn't have to do anything. You know what I mean? So, but at this time, I'm still keeping an eye on like the mail. I didn't make sure I changed my mailing address perfectly because I know I'm supposed to be hearing back from these wage departments about this damn Crumble, right? October happens. I ended up getting another job. I left about 3 months ago or whatever, so they are really sad that I left, and they always said I can come back. I don't know. Working for people isn't for me. Started working there at that time, still wasn't hearing anything. November comes, not hearing anything. Then December comes and I'm still not hearing anything, and then something's like just telling me like, girl, start calling them, right? So there's like a specific number. I don't know how I found the number. I think I found it on Google, and I was calling that number, and you could leave a voicemail, and like the voicemail, the lady that runs that, I think she does call people back, but I think initially when I was first reaching out, I wasn't getting anything, and then all of her automated says it's like, leave a voicemail, she'll get back to you, yada yada yada. So I just kept calling. Like, I wouldn't say I was calling every day. It was like either every 2 days, every other day. Sometimes I would forget, 4 days to go by and I forget to call, so then I call again on my lunch break or something like that. I think one day on my lunch break she actually answered, and I was like, explain my situation, let her know that like, hey, I haven't heard anything, it's been some months now, what's going on with this case. So she gets me back on the line. She said that I guess Crumble sent, I guess, evidence saying that that was my pay rate, and that I was hired as a baker, not a mixer. And I was like, huh? No, I wasn't. First of all, the pay rate for a baker, and I don't discriminate because that's high school pay, but I'm a little bit too grown. There's certain things that I wouldn't work for, even if it is just to fund something like a clothing store, you know, a startup for a clothing store. I would have never got that job for that pay rate. I'm sorry. So I was like, well, what evidence did they even send, and why didn't I get, like, I didn't get a letter, I didn't get anything. So then she told me that she said that they mailed something out back in September. Clearly in some way it probably got lost in the mail, and that's why I didn't receive anything. But she said that the evidence they sent over was, I guess, your orientation letter or your hiring letter. Like, you know, when you get hired at a job, Amazon warehouse does it specifically. When you get hired, they shoot you like a welcome email, like, hey, welcome to Amazon, Deja, blah 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 blah. Right? So when she said that they sent something like that, I'm like, what the fuck? Because mind you, when I got hired at Crumble, I didn't get no email. I didn't even get a welcome letter when I got hired there. So y'all got welcome emails and letters and shit that y'all give out. I didn't get one. I was like, what does it say on there? She's basically saying it's like a welcome letter for you as like a baker or something like that. I said, does it say my name on it? And she was like, oh no. And I was like, then that's not mine. I said, wouldn't a welcome letter say somebody's name on it? I said, so that doesn't say a date or a name or anything. They just sent you something they could have typed up themselves and claimed evidence. So when I said that, she was shocked. She was like, I don't know how this got approved for as qualified as this is just sufficient evidence, and nobody came to collect evidence. And I was like, girl, I have evidence that proves that's not my position and what I got hired for. Do you want that? So then she pauses and she's like, yeah. She's like, if you have evidence to prove it. I said, yeah, I've been holding on to this for months now, waiting to lock in on them. Okay. When I say I have evidence, not only do I have text messages from my coworkers, I have screenshots of my schedule. I have other messages that prove that I was a mixer or whatever. And when I say screenshots from my schedule, literally my schedule said, like, it'll have my name on there and it says mixer. So I sent those. And then the best part of all of it is, I don't know if we used to text when we were cool, but you know, before she started acting weird to me. Why lie? Like, why would you guys lie about that? Like, Crumble, if you're watching this, can you give me an answer of why the people you allow to run your franchise lie about wage? I think you have an integrity problem. Anyway, she gets all that. I think she said that once she gets it, she's gonna process it in, and then basically call me with an update. So I don't know, maybe 2-3 days went by. She gives me a call. You know me, I'm front and center, like, what's up? What's tea? What's next? And shout out to this lady. I don't remember her name, and I obviously won't put it on the YouTube video, but shout out to her. This is why this is what this department is for. You have people that will stand up and will hear you and see the funniness and be like, nah, you're on point. So I really do appreciate her supporting me, because that gave me so much more confidence to keep going. And obviously the evidence really helped back me up, but I feel like she really went over above and beyond, more than I've had it with anybody in that state or working with people. I just haven't had that feeling in a long time, where somebody's gonna advocate for you, somebody's gonna support you, okay? Support. I don't know this lady from a can of paint, and I felt more support from her than I ever did the whole 2 years I was there from anybody else, including family members. She calls me back and she's like, you know that screenshot you sent me? You said that you were texting Kathy. Like, I called that number directly and it went straight to Kathy. I was like, yeah, because that's her cell phone number. I don't know exactly word for word of what, like, how it came up or how she, like, but what I do know is basically she told her that, yeah, no, y'all gonna have to pay her. When she asked why, she basically said that Deja submitted some sufficient evidence to prove that that's not true. Well, I mean, whatever you submitted was false. And then at that point, she asked to see the evidence. The wage lady told her no, submit evidence that she was hired for that. Like, I don't, you know, basically they don't have to show you the evidence I submitted. I mean, I didn't see the evidence that they submitted, so girl, the audacity is crazy. But the wage department lady did tell me if I wanted her to see the evidence, she would go over and send it to them. I said no, tell them to prove that I was hired as that. Tell them to prove that was my pay that we agreed on when I agreed to the job. Babe, you needed me, I didn't need the job, so why the heck would I accept that pay? Found somebody else to play with. So after she told her no, she's not going to send her the evidence, basically show the evidence that she agreed to that pay, that was her pay, she knew that from the beginning, yada yada yada. Kathy goes on and says that, well, she didn't even mix that often, she didn't mix like that, or whatever she said, like she barely mixed it. And the wage department said that doesn't matter, you hired her for that. Just because you didn't have her doing that job doesn't mean you don't have to pay her. Watch out for these scamming jobs, y'all. Okay, you get hired at something and they got you doing something else, make them pay you more if that's the case. And also watch your motherfucking pay stubs, okay? Watch them goddamn hours. Watch that damn overtime, okay? And watch that damn schedule. Oh shit, she basically admitted to hire me as this and then turn around and changing my pay without my knowledge of it, or even consulting me. I don't know if a person just, I don't know. I mean, I can come up with a whole bunch of things that it could be, but we're not here to speculate. We're just here to spread the word. Oh, so before I submitted the evidence, well, the wage department asked would I be willing to negotiate with Crumble if that, she was saying that because she said sometimes when she has these disputes, she's able to have a job and a person be able to negotiate a price or whatever the case, how much they back pay they owe you. And I said no, I work those hours, why would I negotiate? And then she also told me that Kathy said no too, right? The owners get in contact with the wage department lady. The wage department lady called me because the owners really want to negotiate a balance and a price and all this other stuff. And I said no. After the way your general manager and her kids and their boyfriends and girlfriends, whatever, have all treated me up in there. I wouldn't say the boyfriends and girlfriends, okay? We ain't gonna say that because they actually were really non-factors. The way you run your business and you allowed your staff to change my pay and be a crooked to me. And I'm not gonna play the race card or anything like that, but that's all I'm gonna say about it. Like I said, I don't necessarily want to play the race card, but, and I also think the problem is they didn't know they had somebody educated. Not only that, I don't think they knew they had somebody that's willing to stick up for themselves. Also, I don't think they knew they had somebody that's willing to take it to fucking hell about me. You should have asked about me, Bookie. I don't play none of that, okay? And that's why I learned what I learned, to fight it without fighting it. I think it might have been in talks where they were gonna fight it, but then they end up telling the wage department lady to tell me that they were gonna fight it because it was gonna cost a lot more money to go to court. Yes, because I'm gonna sue the shit out of y'all, and then I'm gonna win. Yes, it's gonna cost you guys a fortune. Yes, so give me what I owe before we take it up a notch, and I get what I don't owe. She ended up expediting a check to me here. I think they owed me over $1,000 worth of back pay for those, what, 5 months I worked there. I didn't work there that long. It feels like long when I'm actually in there, but when I actually look at it, I got hired in December and was basically fired in June. I wasn't officially fired till like July, but basically stopped working there in June. That's not a lot of back pay they owed me, but I think it was like, over $1,200 that they owed me in back pay or something like that. So it's really not a lot, but a lot when you think about how much was taken off my check, I guess. Who knows? I was happy for that check. I was happy for that. What did I do with that money? I put it in my savings. And did I use that to go ahead and get my car fixed, or did I go Christmas shopping? I think I did a little bit of everything with that little money. Yeah, guys, and then I never heard from them again. Thank God. I was so happy to finally be done with that shit. Like, oh my God. Going through the government with it and it just being a whole process. Y'all don't understand how draining that could be. Only because I've done it. That's not the first job I had to fight. That's probably the third job. Y'all, this is what I'm telling y'all. These jobs is fucking crooked, okay? But fight for what you know. Look up your laws, y'all. Google is your best friend, okay? Fight for yourself, fight for the money you owe. Even if you don't necessarily win or get what you desire, it feels good to know that you at least made a stand and stuck up for yourself to some type of extent and was a little bit loud about it. You know what I'm saying? Without having to verbally, because I could have easily pulled up and put belt to ass real fast. You know what I'm saying? But where would I be? That's pretty much it. Crumble was probably my worst job I ever worked at. Highly would never, ever, ever, ever recommend a parent to sign their kids up for that job. It's plenty of other jobs. I wouldn't want my high schooler working around that stuff anyway. Maybe it's because I work out and stuff like that. So yeah, highly don't recommend. And hopefully in a decade, Crumble gets better or closes down. Or they regulate their franchises a little bit tighter, because before I even took it to the state, y'all, I was trying to get in contact with the company and I could not get in contact with the people that owned the building or anybody that was a part of the franchise anyway. So that's why, well, I wouldn't say that's why, but I had to skip all of that and just took it straight to the government, because I know the government can get in contact with them and be loud. So that's pretty much it for this video. That ends this story time. You already know. If you guys want to know what set I'm wearing, I am wearing my Rose Flare set from PEEKAH. It is shoppeekah.com. Of course, absolutely love this set. So if you guys haven't ordered it yet, go ahead and order it. Make sure you guys check that link out in the description box for my Matcha, my brands, and all the links to my social medias. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. Please put me in the analytics, guys. Let's get to 5K. 5K by December. Can we do that? I love you. I'm sending peace, love, and light. And you guys will see me on